Awesome. I know it's very scary to make music because like the sounds you make initially are just so cringy. It's like it's hard to hear your own, like with podcasting, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to hear my own voice back and to hear all the likes, kindas,
Yeah. Yeah.
sneezes,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? We're always judging ourselves, and like music is that times a million, right? Because it's like you're subjecting yourself to being under the microscope and being vulnerable. But yeah, I think all acts of or all anything you publish or share and like is just an act of courage. Like creating art and putting it out there is like
Yep.
kind of an ultimate act uh of courage, and that's why I like to encourage people to do it, because it sometimes it takes a nudge, but um yeah,
Yep.
I think it just changes your mindset when you like. It's cool that you, when you talked about, okay, I like to make those skating videos and I didn't care what other people thought about that, like you had that kind of like mindset shift early, right? Like when you were a kid making those skating videos. Like for me, I didn't have that realization that like, oh, you could actually, you don't just have to just like watch YouTube videos. Like you can actually make them. It's like something weird that I didn't realize, of course I knew that you physically could, but just like that thinking of myself, like I could go create something is like, it's just a big change for people. Um,
At the
it
very least,
really
it's
is.
always a learning experience. You're going to learn, you watching it back, like even if it's not coming from somebody else, like you're saying, listening to yourself back, like you just learn like, I didn't know I said, like, pause so often, but I just did it. And so now I know, and now I can work on it. Or put it on YouTube and you get 10 views and one comment, but that one comment might be something constructive or something you can
Yeah.
apply to the next thing. So yeah, it's just like, it's not, it doesn't take believing in yourself. Like it takes believing in yourself, but it doesn't take uh like expecting the first thing I do is going to be a hit, or
Right.
it's going to connect with somebody, or it's going to like be successful with the story I want to tell. But it might be enough to like gather feedback, or enough to where you can then ask for feedback, um, and just keep trying the new next thing. And yeah, I didn't know it would be weddings at all, but
Mm.
here we are, like 9 years later from that high schooler. So
That's cool that you picked something and stuck with it. That's my problem, is like sticking with something over a
mm,
pe- long period of time. Um, so that's cool. You've stuck with wedding photography and videography for almost a decade now. That's we're still
whoa,
young, and like almost doesn't that sound like a long time, a decade? Like
yeah.
you're like
I mean, I
two
had
years
no
away
right
from
to
saying,
be a sophomore in high school shooting a wedding. I had no
yeah.
business being 14, 15.
Hmm,
Like somehow
that's crazy.
someone
That
trusted
sounds
me enough to
insane.
come, just like I was
Yeah.
saying, like I didn't charge, I didn't make anything from the first few like second shooting jobs, but like just someone trusted me to come just hold the camera and like watch them do it. And
Yeah,
but yeah, it's been a long time. That's crazy.
that is
That's
crazy.
super crazy.
Yeah. How old are you now?
Turning 25 in
Okay.
like 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. Oh,
So
happy almost birthday. I'm 27.
it's 24.
So, yeah, very cool. But you were probably so much better. Like, imagine how good you were as a 20-year-old. And if you would have just been like, oh, I have no business, and then never did anything. Like, you would have either
Yeah.
been raw at 14 or raw at 20. So it's like, it's cool that you took that leap and just jumped and got all the cringe out of your system. And then you can move on, and like 18 better, 19 better, 20 better, 24 seasoned vet, right? Like, so it's like, that's really cool. That I think that is like, that mentality is good. Just like you see a wall, just run through it, and like it
Yeah.
will eventually get better. You'll eventually get better at the thing if you just kind of do it, rinse, repeat, do it again. And
Yep.
you have to get better, especially if you're like a person who's like, I think some of that self, like when you're your own worst critic kind of a thing, like some of that is like, that paranoia is good because it kind of drives you, right? If you're just always content of like, hey, that's good enough, then you would have just stuck with photography. But if you're like, hey, no, actually this doesn't fully capture the day, like I gotta
Mm-hmm.
level my game up, or these transitions, they're not quite as good as if I did something else, like I gotta level my game up. Like some of that keeps us out of the game, but like that keeps us, I guess, going and improving. Like some of that is good. We have a, it's like in product, I'm a product manager. We have an APM who just joined, and he's like, he reminds me a lot of myself, because like after meetings he'll ping me and he'll be like, hey Jimmy, like, you know, like I felt like I did A, B, and C and D wrong in that meeting. And like I just didn't notice it. I was like, oh dude, you're fine. But I don't say like, I kind of reassure him like, yeah, man, you did fine. But then I'm not like, I think most people told me when I told them that, they were like, just like, don't be so hard on yourself, blah, blah, blah. But like what I told him was like, that like actually that kind of second guessing, like almost paranoia, or like just want like thinking how can I get better constantly, like that's actually a huge positive trait, because then you will think about things, like you'll see things that other people do and you're like, I don't want to do that, that's not a good look. And you'll see things that other people do that are great and you're like, I want to copy that. And then you'll see yourself and you'll just kind of constantly be adjusting, and like
Mhm.
that's how you get good over time. So I think like some of the like survival instinct of like second guessing, oh my gosh, this is cringe, some of it's actually good.